Today's news highlights. Date July 3, 2025. July 3, 114, Republic of China. News highlights. Intel's new CEO Chen Liwa plans to adjust the wafer foundry strategy, and it is rumored that he may abandon the 18A process and concentrate resources on the next generation of 14A technology to attract large customers such as Apple and Nvidia and catch up with TSMC's advanced process. According to sources, the board of directors will discuss the matter as soon as July, and if it is determined, it will face hundreds of millions to billions of dollars in losses. Intel stressed that it will fulfill its commitment to Amazon and Microsoft to deliver on the 18A process, and whether to fully switch to 14A is still undecided. News highlights. Musk's AI startup xAI has completed a $10 billion fundraising, which will be used to develop the Grok 4 model and build the world's largest data center to challenge OpenAI and other competitors. The corporation is optimistic that the expansion of xAI will drive the growth of orders from Taiwan manufacturers, and Wistron will directly benefit from being the largest supplier of Dell AI server motherboards. Hon Hai, Inventec, and MeTAC are also members of the supply chain. Hon Hai also expanded its Dawin plant to meet the strong demand for AI servers. The legal person expects that the order momentum of related industries will continue to heat up in the coming year. News highlights. Affected by the restricted loan policy, Cushman & Wakefield estimates that the land transaction volume this year will be revised down by more than 10% to 160 billion yuan, and the total amount in the first half of the year will only be about 87 billion yuan, a new low in the past 2 years, showing a steady decline in volume and price. In contrast, the commercial real estate market remains stable, with the transaction value of RMB 74.1 billion in the first half of the year and is expected to challenge RMB 120 billion for the full year. In terms of the commercial and office market, rents rose slightly, and decentralization was steady, but the expansion of enterprises became conservative, and new supply such as Guangdong and Xinguang construction projects will release about 18,600 square meters of space, and the market is showing polarized development. News highlights. Formosa Plastics Group entered the European new energy market for the first time, and its subsidiary, Formosa Plastics New Intelligence, signed a memorandum of cooperation with Poland's SKB Group to carry out 5 strategic cooperations, including electric buses, charging and energy storage integration, and smart energy. The two companies will combine battery modules, energy storage systems, and local electric bus development capabilities to promote e-mobility and low-carbon transformation in Europe. This move not only marks the first time that Formosa Plastics New Intelligence has entered the European market, but also demonstrates its global layout and Taiwan's manufacturing advantages. News highlights. A patient who had been insulin injected in the same part of the abdomen for a long time had 2 abnormal hard lumps under the skin due to repeated injections, which affected the absorption of the drug and caused blood sugar to lose control. The doctor pointed out that the lump was an amyloma of pancreatic islets, which is not a malignant tumor, but it will reduce the effectiveness of treatment. To avoid similar situations, patients are advised to rotate the injection site, check the application site regularly, and avoid continuing the injection on the hard lump to avoid falling into a vicious cycle of ineffective treatment. News highlights. Recently, there have been 5 new cases of Japanese encephalitis in China, and most of the patients live in high-risk areas such as pig barns and rice fields, indicating that the epidemic is heating up. The CDC reminds that the fatality rate of encephalitis in Japan is as high as 30%, and nearly half of the survivors are afraid of neurological or psychiatric sequelae, and the epidemic peaks from June to July. News highlights. A recent study by the University of Chicago and Columbia University found that consuming 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day can improve sleep quality by 16% that night. Through wearable devices, the higher the intake of fruits and vegetables and whole grains, the higher the proportion of deep, continuous sleep. Experts point out that this is a safe, natural, and cost-effective way to help sleep. As long as you eat more fruits and vegetables every day to improve sleep, no need to find special sleep aids. News highlights. The study found that the key to the general health and longevity of residents in the blue zone, such as Okinawa and Sardinia, lies in natural, plant-based eating habits. They eat a lot of fruits, vegetables, legumes, and polyphenols, eat almost no processed foods, and replace animal fats with olive oil and nuts. Polyphenols have antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects, which can help delay aging and protect brain and gut health. Coupled with regular exercise, good social interaction and an optimistic attitude, it is an important lifestyle to promote longevity. News highlights. In hot weather, air conditioning becomes a must-have, but the cost of turning on electricity for a long time is staggering. Many people find that the power-saving mode button on the remote control of the air conditioner does not necessarily save power. Experts said that the power-saving mode can save electricity in a confined small space or when used for a long time by adjusting the operation and wind speed of the compressor, but it consumes more electricity in extreme heat, because the air conditioning cannot be cooled down quickly, and the compressor continues to operate. It is recommended to maintain the temperature at 26 to 28 degrees Celsius, use an electric fan to promote air circulation, and clean the filter regularly. At the same time, the sleep comfort mode automatically increases the temperature during sleep, which helps save more than 12% of electricity, and works with the curtains and doors closed to improve the efficiency of the air conditioning and save electricity. News highlights China's leading PCB company Dongshan Precision plans to acquire Taiwan's optical communications company Source Optoelectronics for about $24 billion, which has raised national security concerns due to its mastery of key semiconductor technologies such as 3nm, 5nm, and silicon photonics. Source has a long background in Chinese capital, but because it is not listed, there is a lack of equity transparency. Experts suggest that a special law should be enacted to strengthen the disclosure of the shareholding structure and prevent the outflow of technology. The Ministry of Economic Affairs has intervened in the review and will work with the Security Department and other units to strictly prevent key technologies from being controlled by Chinese capital and ensure national security and industrial competitiveness. News highlights Taiwan's Falun Dafa Society issued a statement on July 1 sternly refuting the media's misquotation of Italian scholar Xi Shi's comparison of Falun Gong to the boxers and spreading false remarks such as invulnerability, emphasizing that this is a long-term smear tactic by the CCP and has nothing to do with Falun Gong's belief in truthfulness, compassion, and forbearance. The society calls on the media to strictly abide by the principle of verification, guard against the infiltration of the CCP's United Front, and avoid becoming a tool for disinformation. The statement also pointed out that the CCP's continuous cross-border suppression of Falun Gong and the spread of disinformation seriously threaten democratic society and freedom of belief. News highlights U.S. President Donald Trump announced on July 2 that he had reached a trade agreement with Vietnam, which would remove all tariffs on U.S. imports and achieve tariff-free access to the Vietnamese market for U.S. goods. In response, the U.S. side will impose a 20% tariff on Vietnamese goods and a 40% tariff on goods deemed to be transshipped from countries such as China. The agreement aims to encourage Vietnam to step up its fight against trade fraud, prevent Chinese goods from being exported around the route, and encourage Vietnam to buy more American products. Shares of several U.S. companies that rely on Vietnamese production rose after the agreement was announced. News highlights Japanese cartoonist Natsuki once predicted that a major earthquake would occur in Japan and its surroundings in the early morning of July 5, which caused heated discussions on the internet. However, in her new book, The Last Words of the Angels, she corrected her statement, emphasizing that the date was not a definite catastrophe and calling for no blind faith. The Japan Meteorological Agency and the Earthquake Survey Committee refuted the rumors, saying that there was no scientific basis and reminded the public to take rational precautions. The Japanese government has also strengthened its disaster preparedness plan to enhance its resilience. Experts advise the public to continue to pay attention to official information, prepare evacuation kits, and prepare for possible earthquake risks on a daily basis. News highlights the U.S. Senate passed a tax reform bill that states that companies such as TSMC will enjoy a 35% investment tax credit if they start building new factories before 2026, which is better than the current 25%. TSMC's first plant in Arizona has been mass-produced in the fourth quarter of 2024, the construction of the second plant has been completed, and the construction of the third plant started at the end of April this year, which is eligible. Analyst Wang Zhaolai pointed out that the increase in tax credits will benefit the operation of TSMC's U.S. plants, and it remains to be seen whether the fourth to sixth factories will be built in advance in the future. News highlights Wang Junqiao, chairman of Kaohsiung Interkai Technology, invested in the purchase of a luxury yacht in May and hired a seawoman with 9 years of maritime experience as the captain. Unexpectedly, when he was entertaining customers in June, Wang Nan threw fruit seeds and bones at Woman C, and threw her head, insulted, and even suppressed her in the corner to intimidate. Woman C reported the case the next day to file a complaint for injury, intimidation, and public insult, but unexpectedly, the company dismissed her on the grounds of incompetence, which triggered a backlash from Woman C and insisted on filing a lawsuit for professional dignity and personal rights. News highlights Zhang Mingdian, director of the meteorological department at the front desk, shared an infrared cloud map on the evening of July 2, showing that the clouds over Tainan and Kaohsiung formed the shape of a heart, which made him exclaim, "It seems to see a heart." After the picture was exposed, netizens responded enthusiastically. Some people laughed and said that it looked like Xioxin's ass, and some people said Taiwan is a country full of love. News highlights the Meow Stars company invested in established by artist Cao Nixon and her husband Huang Kuilun called for the recruitment of newcomers in March this year, but was accused by a newcomer of being required to pay 9,000 yuan for acting training classes after passing the interview, otherwise he would not be admitted, and questioned that it was an act of cutting leaks. In this regard, the two denied charging for profit, and claimed that the training class lost 300,000 yuan. News highlights a video claiming that Lin Yakan, a 17-year-old girl from Taiwan, gave up an international award because she refused to call herself Taiwan Province of China, recently went viral, attracting 300,000 views in 2 days, and netizens praised her as the light of Taiwan. However, the film is actually fictional, and the narration and images are suspected to be AI-generated, and the content does not match the facts. The caption of the video has been labeled as an original fictional story, but it still has caused a lot of misbelief and discussion. The incident has aroused concern that it is easy to confuse the public in the fiction of social media platforms, and calls on the public to enhance their media literacy and avoid being misled by sensational and false information. News highlights: recently, some tourists went to Penghu Bayadong BNB, but encountered the operator entering and exiting the space on the first floor without authorization, causing controversy. Tenants have accused the proprietress and their car dealership partner of swiping their cards to enter without consent on multiple occasions, and even showing up as a strange man before checking out, which is unsettling. After the report, the proprietress was only willing to compensate 500 yuan per person, and when she sent the plane, she asked with a threat, "Do you want to go to the police station or the airport?" The incident sparked heated discussions among netizens, calling for attention to the privacy of private accommodation. News highlights: during the trial of the Jinghua City case, the wife of Peng Zhensheng, the former deputy mayor of Baishi, fell from the building, causing some people to be emotional. A netizen combined the name and photo of the prosecutor into bloodstains and texts to threaten life debts, and the Beijing Procuratorate made a rare condemnation last night, saying that the account Rosetree 881 had been locked, and ordered the police to quickly investigate and deal with it strictly. The Ministry of Justice emphasizes that freedom of speech is not exempt from liability and calls for social rationality and respect for justice and the rule of law. News highlights: the wife of Peng Zhensheng, the former deputy mayor of Taipei City, fell to her death, shocking the society, and Peng Zhensheng cried bitterly in court when he learned the bad news. Han Kuo-yu, head of the legislature, said that Taiwan's once proud democracy and freedom are being seriously challenged, and the basic principles of judicial presumption of innocence, the principle of proportionality, and the evidence speak have been undermined, which deeply saddens the powerless and powerless. He stressed that fairness and justice are the core of democracy and freedom, and that the judiciary should be tried fairly and political interference should be eliminated. News highlights: China has a 90% share of the global market in rare earth refining and dominates the supply chain, but it is highly dependent on Myanmar's heavy rare earths, which are still in turmoil. Instability in Myanmar, militia-controlled mining areas and the recent earthquake have raised the risk of supply chain disruptions in China. China has strengthened its geopolitical influence through aid, while facing environmental pollution, human rights disputes, and international concerns. Countries are actively looking for alternative sources. The global rare earth map is likely to be reorganized, and China's rare earth hegemony is being challenged in multiple ways. News highlights: hate graphics and texts appeared on social media platforms, and the photos of the 11 prosecutors who handled the Jinghua City case were marked with threatening words such as life debt, life repayment, which aroused great concern among the judicial authorities. The police have locked the account Rosetree 881 to investigate, involved in intimidation and endangering safety and other crimes. The Ministry of Justice and the Beijing Procuratorate issued a statement in the early morning to severely condemn, emphasizing to ensure the personal safety of prosecutors. The incident originated from the fall of the wife of the defendant Peng Zhensheng in the Jinghua City case, which sparked criticism from political circles and online public opinion, and the legal community's concern has escalated into a challenge to public power. News highlights: as the Jinghua City case continues, the Taipei District Prosecutor's Office opened a separate investigation last year and found that former Vice Mayor Peng Zhensheng had used Line to pass the public exhibition signature to former Mayor K. Wen's, saying that it was to remind K that he should bear the responsibility for decision-making. K argued that he was not involved in the volume decision and did not know about it until the media reported it, but the prosecution found a transcript of the conversation from his mobile phone and questioned his statement. Since the case was reported by the legislators, the prosecution conducted extensive investigations and found that the decision-making process involved illegality, and then searched for and interviewed relevant personnel. News highlights: the Navy's self-built submarine Haiken conducted its third sea test on July 3, and if it goes well, it will enter the submarine test stage, which is expected to be completed by the end of September and delivered in November. A number of veterans showed solidarity on the spot and showed their support for national defense independence. The Haiken is the first self-built submarine, which will be built in the 2+3+2 mode in the future, and the second one has been signed with Taiwan Shipbuilding to start preparations. However, the Legislative Yuan froze 50% of the budget for the follow-up ships, and the expenditure could only be started after the test results of the prototype ships were reported. News highlights: Zhang Wenfang, a former obstetrician and gynecologist at National Taiwan University, was charged with drugging, sexually assaulting or molesting 3 female professionals between 2020 and 2021, and was prosecuted by the Beijing Procuratorate in November last year for aggravated attempted forced intercourse. Zhang Nan has not been reported repeatedly, did not appear in court in March this year and has absconded, and the court ruled to confiscate 400,000 yuan of security and issue a wanted notice. 3 of the victims have publicly complained that they were invited to drink and wake up in a hotel or laboratory, and suspect that they have been assaulted. National Taiwan University Hospital will not renew the employment of Zhang Nan at the end of 2023. News highlights: IPASS Money announced that IPASS Money will be fully removed from the Line Pay wallet from 2026 and will operate independently of the IPASS Money app, providing functions such as QR code payment, remittance, transportation payment, and storage of digital coupons. The cooperation between Line Pay and All-in-One Card will end at the end of 2025, and both parties promise that the rights and interests of users will not be affected. In order to win users and merchants, the All-in-One Card pushes discounts to encourage conversion. The market is concerned about the progress of Line Pay's electronic payment license, and the competition for third-party payment is becoming increasingly fierce. News highlights: Hong Ai, 4530, announced the closure of its catering division, including brands such as Grilled Bar with Sauce, Mr. Ka Roasted Uncle and Aunt Jinman's Fried Instant Noodles, and relocated employees with an estimated severance fee of 4.3 million yuan. Hong Ai pointed out that due to factors such as labor shortages and rising costs after the epidemic, the catering sector continued to lose money. In the future, it will transform and develop new businesses such as water recycling, emphasizing that the end of catering will not have a significant impact on the overall operation. News highlights: the Tourism Administration of the Ministry of Communications announced that from January to April this year, the number of outbound tourists from Taiwan reached 5.967 million, exceeding the pre-epidemic level, of which 36% of them traveled to Japan, reaching 2.144 million. However, due to the prediction of a major earthquake on July 5 by Japanese cartoonists, the number of people going to Japan in July dropped sharply, and the travel industry frankly admitted that its performance was miserable, and even declined by 5%. The overall travel market is dominated by Asia, with 89%, and the industry is expected to recover from August. News highlights: President Li Qiang proposed that if there are seats in business class for military personnel, they should be automatically upgraded, and asked the Ministry of Transportation to make further contacts. China Airlines' response to the company is under discussion has aroused heated discussions among netizens, who are worried that this move will compress the airline's profits and affect the rights and interests of shareholders, and even said that it will switch to evergreen. Proponents argue that the vacant upgrades are reasonable and that military personnel should be treated. The policy has become the focus of social discussion, reflecting the contradiction between the welfare of military personnel and the interests of enterprises. News highlights: Pingdonglei Township Erfengen provides clean subterranean water and lateral overflow weirs, which has become a popular place for summer water play. However, at the beginning of the summer vacation this year, some tourists broke into the main Zhen Road to play in the water, polluting the downstream people's livelihood water, causing dissatisfaction among the local people. The township office stressed that the main road is not allowed to go into water, and the road improvement project is underway, which is expected to be completed by the end of July, when the environmental quality will be improved and management will be strengthened. Designed by Japanese engineer Nobue Torii, Erfengen is an important local water resource, and the public should respect the right to use water to avoid damaging water quality. News highlights: a driver in the Three Gorges district of New Taipei City was fined 1,200 yuan for only turning on the daytime running lights when it rained, only to find that the law stipulates that when it rains, fogs, or has poor vision, the headlights must be turned on. Many drivers mistakenly think that they don't need to turn on their headlights during the day and rainy days, which has aroused heated discussions among netizens. Some people are dissatisfied with the fine, and some people remind that headlights can improve visibility and ensure safety. The New Taipei Transportation Bureau stressed that according to Article 109 of the Road Traffic Safety Rules, headlights should be turned on regardless of whether it is dark or raining to prevent accidents. News highlights: Jay Chou's Carnival Hong Kong concert ended successfully, and the final guests included Hong Kong King Aaron Kwok and Stephen Chow, which sparked heated discussions. Recently, some netizens met 63-year-old Stephen Chow and posted a group photo, which received a large number of praise. The older you get, the more handsome you are. Although Stephen Chow has a little grey hair, he still exudes a star aura, and it is difficult to hide his charm. Jay Chou also shared a photo with Xing Ye in the community, humorously writing that the two used their dreams to resist reality together, showing deep friendship and positive energy. News highlights: American veteran actor Peter Henry Schroeder passed away in Florida on June 7 at the age of 90. Peter has participated in the Ang Lee film Husto and voiced the Prime Minister of the Klingon Empire in the series StarCraft: Enterprise, which is very popular among fans. In his later years, he was still active in acting, and participated in the Oscar for the Best Film Argo Mission, and finally worked on the 2020 political satire Sammygate. Before his death, he humorously said that he still wanted to return to Los Angeles to work, and finally passed away peacefully by the side of his family, causing fans to mourn. News highlights: veteran artist Ji Baer's 38-year-old second son Yu Yanfen was involved in drugs again, and stabbed a friend with a knife during an argument with his wife at his residence in Wenshan District, Taipei on June 2. Ji Baer publicly apologized and responded to his son's question. Yu Yanfen was reported by Ji Baer for drug abuse and drug trafficking in 2010 and served nearly 3 years in prison. After serving a prison sentence and being released from prison, he dated the artist Xiang Ying for 4 years, and broke up in 2017 due to personality and family factors. This incident has once again drawn attention to the complex background of the outside world. News highlights 32-year-old actress Lin Mojing suffered from highly malignant stage 1 ovarian cancer, underwent 6 chemotherapy treatments in half a year, shaved her hair, and gained 20 kilograms in weight. She admitted on social platforms that the pain of chemotherapy made it difficult for her to think about the future, and she often woke up in the middle of the night and cried because of the risk of recurrence. The scar on her abdomen became a burden on her mind, but she was reluctant to go under surgery again, and the recovery of her hair and eyelashes was uncertain. Lin Mojing said that she still wants to live, but she lives in fear every day, longing to live in the moment and live like a normal person, but questions whether this is just a luxury dream. News highlights a few days ago, Adi, Shu Wei and Milk visited Xiao Fang, a vegetative fan of the Zindian courtyard of the Creation Foundation, and accompanied her to spend a touching time. Xiao Fang has been bedridden for 18 years due to illness, and she interacts with energy through her eye tracking system, and is thrilled to hear the idol singing Love Me One More Day. Energy members thanked fans for their support over the years, and called on the society to pay attention to the care of vegetative people, help news stores facing reduced donations, and jointly support the disadvantaged nursing funds. News highlights in the second half of 2025, the tiger, rabbit, and monkey zodiac signs will usher in a major turn for the better in the workplace, wealth, and interpersonal relationships due to the help of nobles. Under the guidance of nobles, those who belong to the tiger will grow rapidly and create peaks in their careers. Rabbits receive advice on investment and industry transformation, double their salaries, and grow their wealth. Monkey people expand their contacts through noble people, have active careers and social interactions, and single people are expected to meet their ideal partners, and their families are more harmonious. These 3 zodiac signs become the focus of the second half of the year, welcoming a bumper harvest and breakthrough. News highlights the annual cross-strait sports event Jingxia Swim Crossing will be held on the 26th of this month, but because the central authorities suspect that it has a united front meaning, they have asked the Kinmen County government to suspend it, causing dissatisfaction in the sports circles on both sides of the strait. Li Wenliang, Deputy County Magistrate of Kinmen, said that he would wait for the official document before responding. The event, which has been held for 13 years, symbolizes peaceful exchanges between the two sides of the Taiwan Strait and attracts about 200 contestants. The sports community has called for sports to return to professionalism, avoid political interference, and continue to maintain cross-strait exchanges. News highlights Typhoon Moon, the third typhoon of this year, was formed by an enhanced tropical depression at 2 a.m. and is currently located about 500 kilometers east of Iwo Jima and about 2,440 kilometers east of Taipei. At a speed of 12 kilometers per hour, Qian is moving north-north-northwest, and is expected to approach the sea southeast of Japan. The Central Weather Administration pointed out that Mu-en has no direct impact on Taiwan's weather. News highlights Hong Kong male singer Zhang Haihang's image was damaged due to past emotional disputes, his acting career was suspended, and his income was unstable in recent years, and he even changed careers to work as an outsourced worker to support his family. His wife, Ou Yanwen, revealed that the husband and wife had not paid the rent for 2 months and received a notice of termination of the tenancy. Chung has publicly appealed for work assistance, admitting that he needs to raise funds due to his financial difficulties. The couple's relationship twists and turns are frequent, divorce and pregnancy are frequent, and Zhang Haihang will undergo ligation surgery in 2023 to express a responsible attitude. Ou Yanwen once posted an article revealing that the pressure of life is huge, which has attracted attention and support from the outside world. News highlights the Easy Card has a service life, and the official said that the validity period is 20 years, mainly due to the physical characteristics of the card and the aging of the antenna. In order to avoid poor induction, it is recommended to replace the card with a new card after expiration. Netizens shared that the Easy Card can be extended at MRT stations, the 4 major supermarkets or the Easy Card customer service center when it expires, and the validity period can be extended for 5 years. If you want to check the validity period of the Easy Card, you can enter the card number on the official website to keep the card in normal use and prolong the life of the card. News highlights a 22-year-old man in the Czech Republic who opened a dental clinic with his parents, but had no medical training, taught himself to practice medicine through online videos, and operated for 2 years before he was discovered. His mother was a nurse who administered anesthesia and obtained equipment, while his father made dentures. The trio used social media to attract patients and illegally made about $5.5 million. The police have arrested the family and charged them with illegal medical practice, money laundering and other charges, which carry a maximum sentence of 8 years in prison. The case was regarded by the Czech Association of Dentists as a rare case of fraudulent medical practice. News highlights Hong Kong actor Huang Junfan won the 3rd runner-up of the Mr. Asia contest in 2012, and in August 2023, he was attacked by a drug addict with a kitchen knife while dining in Shenzhen, with multiple serious injuries to his face, left hand, and left waist, and he underwent emergency surgery for 6 hours with more than 100 stitches on his face. The murderer was sentenced to 10 years in prison for premeditating the crime due to hallucinations. Huang Junfan recalled the shocking moment, thanked himself for being alive, and said that he was most worried about his family, emphasizing that life is impermanent and will face the future strongly. News highlights in July. The heat is hot, and air conditioning has become a must-have appliance, but misuse not only has a poor cooling effect, but also increases the burden of electricity bills. Japanese home consultant Aro pointed out 5 NG habits. First, turn on the air conditioner as soon as you get home, and you should open the window for ventilation first. Second, the air conditioning wind direction is facing downward for a long time, and it is recommended to adjust it slightly upward or automatic. Third, the air volume is set to weaken and increase power consumption, and the automatic air volume is applied. Fourth, the outdoor unit is surrounded by debris that affects heat dissipation. Fifth, relying on automatic cleaning and ignoring regular cleaning, internal dust and mold can easily affect performance and health. Proper use of air conditioning is the only way to save electricity and cool down. News highlights. The 4 zodiac signs that are born with good fortune include the ox, the dragon, the snake, and the pig. Ox people are diligent and practical, good at prudent financial management, and their wealth has grown steadily. Dragons are confident and have leadership, are good at seizing opportunities, and have a good harvest of wealth and family. Snake people are wise and calm, good at analysis and planning, and their investment results are remarkable. Pig people have an easygoing and generous personality, good popularity, and can attract many financial resources. These 4 zodiac signs not only succeed in their careers, but also know how to manage and share wealth, and their quality of life is constantly improving. News highlights in physiognomy. Facial features reflect a person's personality and fortune. Tom shared 2 key aspects of being able to live a famous brand life after the age of 30. First, the forehead is full and broad, bright and scarless, representing the Guanlo Palace, symbolizing wealth, power, and noble people's help, and broad-minded, suitable for women to show their foreheads more to enhance their fortune. The second is that the eyebrows are long and thick, which belongs to the Basehu Palace, which represents good interpersonal relationships and a stable and mellow character. And the gathering of the eyebrows symbolizes the careful completion of the goal. News highlights. Japanese cartoonist Natsuki Liang once accurately predicted the 311 earthquake and predicted that a catastrophe affecting Taiwan could occur on July 5 this year. Recently, more than 800 earthquakes have occurred in the Kagoshima region of Japan for 11 consecutive days, and panic has increased. Experts recommend preparing canned food, especially canned meat that can last up to 30 years, as an essential food for evacuation. Canned food should be stored in a cool and dry place, avoid freezing and high temperature, so as to prolong the shelf life. Canned fish, beans, and vegetables are also good choices to provide balanced nutrition. In the face of disasters, food preparation and proper preservation are key. News highlights. Many people mistakenly think that eating too salty food can lead to high blood pressure, but in fact, sweets and sugary drinks are more likely to cause blood pressure to rise. Dietitian Xue Xiaojing pointed out that sugar-sweetened drinks will affect the function of kidney sodium excretion, increase insulin resistance and uric acid production, and increase the risk of hypertension. Many seemingly healthy drinks, such as sour plum soup and sugar-free tea, can also affect insulin sensitivity and blood pressure regulation due to their high sodium or artificial sweeteners. It is recommended to choose self-brewed sugar-free tea, black bean water and lemon water that can help stabilize blood pressure, and avoid long-term consumption of sugary or high-sodium beverages. News highlights. Intel's new CEO Chen Liwu is considering adjusting the foundry strategy, and may abandon the original 18A process and instead focus on the development of the next generation 14A process, hoping to surpass TSMC and attract major customers such as Apple and Nvidia. The 18A process is currently entering risk trial production and is expected to be mass-produced this year, but the market believes that Intel's move is intended to catch up with TSMC's 2nm and Angstrom A16 processes. This decision could lead to hundreds of millions to billions of dollars in damages, and Intel has not officially responded. The company has committed to fulfilling its 18A delivery obligations to Amazon and Microsoft, but there is still uncertainty about whether 14A will succeed as expected. News highlights. Tesla CEO Elon Musk's AI startup xAI has recently completed a $10 billion fundraising, which will invest in building next-generation AI models and building the world's largest data center, with the goal of deploying 1 million Nvidia GPUs by the end of the year to enhance competitiveness. Major suppliers Dell and Supermicro have benefited, with Wistron Taiwan's exclusive supply of Dell AI server motherboards and expansion of production, as well as foundries such as Honhai, Inventec, and MITAC Group. Honhai continues to expand its AI server production capacity, and its performance is expected to exceed trillions this year, reflecting the strong demand from the AI industry. News highlights. TSMC's total employee dividends in 2024 reached a record high of about NT $140.6 billion, with an average dividend of about NT $2.0084 million per person, an increase of about 34.3% over last year. Half of the dividends have been paid in quarters this year, and the other half is expected to be paid in July, in line with the board's previous resolution. Based on TSMC's approximately 70,000 Taiwanese employees at the end of last year, the dividend growth is significant, reflecting the company's excellent performance and continuous promotion of incentive policies. News highlights. Yang Dada, director of Cushman & Wakefield, said that under the influence of the restricted loan policy, the land transaction volume in 2024 is expected to be revised down by more than 10% to 160 billion yuan, due to the high capital threshold. More than 4 billion yuan of land transactions are weak, and the transaction in the first half of the year is only 87 billion yuan, a low point in the past 2 years. The commercial real estate market is expected to challenge RMB 120 billion for the whole year due to strong demand for industrial expansion, with transactions reaching RMB 74.1 billion in the first half of the year. The rent of commercial offices in Taipei City has risen slightly, and the market has been stabilized, but there will be nearly 19,000 square meters of new supply in the second half of the year, and corporate leasing is polarized, with more existing tenants renewing their contracts, and the demand for high-quality office space is still stable. News highlights: Formosa Plastics New Intelligence entered the European market for the first time and signed a memorandum of cooperation with Poland's SKB Group to launch 5 new energy strategies, including electric buses, charging and energy storage systems, industrial and commercial energy storage, smart energy platforms and strategic investment. The two companies will combine Formosa Plastics' high-energy density lithium iron phosphate battery technology with SKB's expertise in electric buses and renewable energy to jointly promote Europe's low-carbon transition. This cooperation marks an important step in Formosa Plastics' new energy's global deployment, helping Poland achieve its 2030 goal of universal access to electric buses and renewable energy development. News highlights: U.S. President Donald Trump announced a new trade deal with Vietnam, imposing tiered tariffs on Vietnamese goods exported to the U.S. based on non-origin content, up to about 20%. Ruhong and Jiang, Taiwan's major garment manufacturers, are optimistic about the clear policy, which will help brand customers resume stable procurement and reduce the risk of uncertainty. Ruhong Vietnam accounts for 60% of the production capacity and Jiang about 35%, and the two companies will adjust their production and product mix to cope with tariff changes. The new tariff framework has stabilized the market and allowed brand customers to develop long-term sourcing strategies without causing significant loss of orders. News highlights: the Taipei Stock Exchange market rose on July 3. Taiwan stocks once rose more than 200 points, and the new Taiwan dollar rose below 29 yuan at the opening, with the highest intraday price of 28.886 yuan, an appreciation of about 2.94 jiao from last Friday's closing price of 29.18 yuan. The market focused on the unexpected negative growth of the ADP employment report in the United States in June, indicating a slowdown in the momentum of the U.S. economy and raising expectations that the Federal Reserve will cut interest rates early. As a result, the weakening of the U.S. dollar index has led to the continued strengthening of the new Taiwan dollar, and Huiyan believes that this trend may continue, reflecting the market's sensitive reaction to changes in economic and monetary policies. News highlights: TSMC's total employee dividends in 2024 reached a record high of about NT dollar 140.6 billion, with an average dividend of about NT dollar 2.0084 million per person, an increase of about 34.3% over last year. Half of the dividends have been paid in quarters this year, and the other half is expected to be paid in July, in line with the board's previous resolution. Based on TSMC's approximately 70,000 Taiwanese employees at the end of last year, the dividend growth is significant, reflecting the company's excellent performance and continuous promotion of incentive policies. News highlights: President Lai Ching-te recently promoted the 10 lectures on national unity at Taiwan's civil society organizations, covering 10 themes such as national identity, unity, constitutional system, and defense, emphasizing Taiwan's sovereignty and democratic values. The event, which coincided with the July recall, raised questions about political intent, and Lai spoke out as an unofficial venue to stabilize the morale of the Green Camp. The first lecture emphasized that Taiwan is a sovereign state and refuted China's claims. The second lecture called for the unity of the whole people to oppose communism and uphold democracy, but the impurity theory was rebounded. The third lecture focused on the 5 constitutional powers and democratic disputes, and the fourth lecture focused on national defense and called for support for the Taiwan military and national defense budget. The overall speech sparked heated discussions in the political arena and public opinion, and opinions within the Green Camp were divided, and the results remain to be seen. News highlights: All-in-one card IPASS Money, the electronic payment operator with the largest number of users in Taiwan, will terminate its cooperation with Line Pay by the end of 2025 and fully transfer its services to the One Card IPASS Money app for 7 million users on January 1, 2026. The user's existing functions such as living payment, stored value, and transfer will be seamlessly integrated to the new platform, and upgraded services such as TWQR cross-swiping, cross-border payment, and ticket purchase will be added. The registration of new merchants will be changed to the merchant section of the official website of the All-in-One Card from July 3. News highlights: U.S. President Donald Trump announced a trade deal with Vietnam, imposing 20% tariffs on Vietnamese goods exported to the United States and 40% tariffs on transshipment goods. Vietnam, for its part, will fully open its market to the United States for zero-tariff exports. The analysis points out that the 20% tax rate may apply to the entire ASEAN region, but it is unimaginable to impose the same proportional tax rate on Taiwan, because Taiwan's trade deficit is mainly due to the export of AI products, unlike Vietnam's investment transfer from China. Vietnam is the sixth largest source of imports to the United States and the third largest trade surplus in the world. The 40% tariff on transshipment goods is more of a political statement, and its substantive impact is limited. News highlights Unigirls Unified Lion cheerleading team adds new Korean members. Following yesterday's announcement of Haejin Moon, it was announced today, 3, that Haejin will make his debut at Tainan Baseball Stadium on July 12. Ahn Haejin has played for Seoul FC Football, Woori Bank, and SK Knights basketball cheerleading team, and is a member of the Korean professional Dusan Bears cheerleading team with Moon Haejin. She loves to taste food, hopes to become the best cheerleader in Taiwan, and looks forward to experiencing the support culture of Taiwan's professional baseball and interacting with fans. News highlights China's first domestically built submarine Haikon 3, launched the third sea survey including propulsion, rudder wing, power, and communication systems, and is expected to complete the sea survey in September and strive to deliver the ship in November. The Haikon sailed off the coast of Kaohsiung Harbor and received enthusiastic support from military fans, who pulled up cloth strips and waved national flags to cheer up the submarine and the Navy, expressing their affirmation and expectation for the national ship and national construction. The progress of this submarine has attracted great attention from the outside world, symbolizing an important milestone in Taiwan's national defense independence. News highlights a family of 5 in Fengyuan District, Taichung, is suspected of having committed suicide due to severe debt pressure, and the owner surnamed Wang, his wife, and 3 children have been lying at home for many days. In the past 2 days, a number of creditors have come to the door to demand, and the Wang family not only mortgaged the house, but also had their cars and locomotives repossessed by the pawnshop, and they are suspected of being unable to repay the loan and are on a desperate road. Neighbors said that the Wang family has huge debts and many debt collections. Wang Nan usually runs a low-key military supply store, and after discovering the missing contact, his factory colleagues called the police, and the police are further investigating the case. News highlights the Nasdaq index of U.S. stocks hit a new high, and TSMC's American Depository Receipts, ADRs, climbed simultaneously, encouraging TSMC's stock price to rush to 1,105 yuan intraday, with a market value of 28.65 trillion yuan, driving the weighted index to rise by more than 150 points and challenging the 23,000 point level. Electronic weight stocks strengthened as a whole, with most of Honhai, Mediatek, and Delta Power rising, and freight stocks also firming up. The legal person believes that the linkage between Taiwan stocks and U.S. stocks is high, and there is still room for short-term gains, and pays attention to the reciprocal tariff negotiations between Taiwan and the United States and the trend of the new Taiwan dollar exchange rate, and the outlook for the future market is still positive. News highlights Taiwan's housing prices have soared, but wages have not kept up, making it difficult for office workers in North City, New Taipei City and Taichung City to afford their monthly mortgages, and Taipei City has the most mortgage pressure. Based on the average house price of 26.21 million yuan in North City, the monthly mortgage payment is about 80,000 yuan, far exceeding the average monthly salary of 54,600 yuan, resulting in a gap of 25,900 yuan. In contrast, Hsinchu has a higher salary and a lighter burden due to its high-paying industry, with higher wages and more reasonable housing prices. On the whole, there is a large gap between wages and housing prices, and the pressure to buy a house is heavy, making it difficult for most office workers to buy a house on their income alone, and they have become North Korean defectors and migrated to areas with lower housing prices. News highlights China's first domestically built submarine Haikon 3, launched the third sea survey including propulsion, rudder wing, power, and communication systems, and is expected to complete the sea survey in September and strive to deliver the ship in November. The Haikon sailed off the coast of Kaohsiung Harbor and received enthusiastic support from military fans, who pulled up cloth strips and waved national flags to cheer up the submarine and the Navy, expressing their affirmation and expectation for the national ship and national construction. The progress of this submarine has attracted great attention from the outside world, symbolizing an important milestone in Taiwan's national defense independence. News highlights today, 3rd, the temperature in Taiwan is hot, the temperature in the northern region can reach up to 37 degrees, and the mountainous areas in the central and southern parts and northeast also have high temperatures above 36 degrees, and there are local short-term thunder showers in the south of Chi and some mountainous areas in the afternoon. King Taimun is located in the eastern sea of Taipei and has no direct impact on Taiwan. Meteorological expert Wu Derong reminded that there is a tropical system at the northern tip of Luzon Island that is slowly developing, and the path is uncertain due to multiple meteorological factors, and the future trend remains to be seen. News highlights scams are rampant during the peak tourist season, and travel expert G. Rugo warns that in addition to air ticket fraud, there are also copycat visa websites, especially for Vietnam e-visas and US visas, which often steal personal information with high unreasonable service fees and phishing methods. Gary Ge shared 3 tips to identify copycats. Pay attention to the word sponsorship next to the search results, Check whether the fee matches the official price, and avoid buying bundles or additional promotional services. It is recommended that before applying for a visa, be sure to check the official information on the official website of the Consular Affairs Bureau of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to ensure safety and avoid being deceived. News highlights K. Wen's case involving the plot ratio of Jinghua City was investigated, and the mobile phone message showed that he had informed Chen's Haihan Online last year that the case was not in the mayor's office, and the responsibility lay with Peng Zhensheng. However, K. once denied knowing about it, and only said that he respected the decision-making of civil servants. Peng Zhensheng frankly admitted that the case was assigned by K, and K knew about the profit, and also instructed that civil servants should not go to prison. When the prosecution interrogated Peng, he said that K had read the relevant signatures and knew that the profit was illegal. Peng has pleaded guilty, and the court continues to hear that he may face perjury if he retracts his confession. The case revealed a dispute over the liability of the two Koppen, and the investigation is still ongoing. News highlights on the 2nd, Fengyuan District, Taichung City, was shocked to report that a family of 5 people had their bodies in their home, including the owner of the house, a man surnamed Wang, his wife, and 3 children, who were suspected to have been dead for many days. Because the youngest son did not go to work at the factory for 2 consecutive days, his colleagues could not contact anyone, so they went to his residence where he operated a military supply store to inspect it, found that the store was not open and called the police. When the police opened the door, they found the tragedy, and 4 people left suicide notes. According to the survey, families may be at a dead end due to excessive financial pressure, and the details are still to be clarified. News highlights Ray, known as Taiwan's strongest high school student, recently bluntly said that Taiwan is like on the American internet celebrity Logan Paul program, criticizing Taiwanese people as NPCs and lacking independent thinking and vitality. He said that when he first came to the United States, he felt the cultural differences and decided to settle in the United States. Regarding Taiwan's chip technology achievements, Ray believes that it is meaningless to young people. Logan Paul questioned his views, while Ray reiterated that life in Taiwan is boring and routine, and he once revealed that he was unable to adapt after only 3 days of returning to Taiwan and was eager to leave. News highlights President Lai Ching-te announced that on the 93rd Military Day, he will promote discounts on shopping and priority boarding for active military personnel to express his respect for the Taiwan military. Carrefour, Family Mart, and Laifu all said that they would launch discounts as usual, and Xuanlian and A.Mart are also in planning. FNB operators are also evaluating the possibility of participation. Taiwan Airlines was also instructed to implement priority boarding and business class upgrades for military personnel from July, and China Airlines said that it would consider it, and the rest of the airlines have not yet responded. News highlights South Korean actress Park Jae-young sparked heated discussions because she mistakenly uploaded suspected spoiler photos after the 2nd season of Squid Game was broadcast. She recently apologized in an interview, admitting that she had not thought it through, and thanked the director and Lee Jinya for forgiveness, emphasizing that she didn't have the face to see everyone. She revealed that Netflix did not seek liquidated damages, but paid more attention to preventing similar incidents from happening again. News highlights senior artist Zhen Li recently blew herself up on the show, and had 2 secret abortions before marriage, shocking the guests. She admitted that she had not yet decided whether to get married or not when she was dating her husband at that time, and she did not want to be forced to start a family due to pregnancy, so she did not tell the man. Although she became pregnant again after marriage and gave birth to her daughter successfully, she became pregnant again half a year later. Considering that the child's age was too close, she chose to have an abortion again. She stressed that her husband would not be angry when he knew about it, and the two had a consensus on the concept of childbearing. News highlights Japanese cartoonist Natsuki Liang predicted that a catastrophe would occur on July 5, 2025 in the Future I Saw Complete Edition, which caused heated discussions and panic on the Japanese internet, and some people even chose to leave the country to avoid disasters. The meteorological agency stressed that the prophecy was a rumor and urged the public not to panic. Parasophists warn that there is no scientific basis for prophecy and should not be blindly believed, but it can be used as an opportunity to raise awareness of disaster prevention and maintain a rational approach. News highlights Taiwanese and Russian mixed-race actress Ruoxi Niang, DJ Rara, recently confessed on the show that she was sexually assaulted by a friend who knew the record company. She revealed that she was taken to the recording studio by the other party after getting drunk due to emotional feelings, and the other party took the opportunity to drug the drink. She woke up disheveled, sexually assaulted and beaten. This painful experience is still difficult for her to let go, and it also reminds the public to pay attention to safety and prevention of sexual violence around them. News highlights Ji Qin and Wang Ronfu have been married for more than 10 years, and the family recently went to Italy for a vacation. She and her 18-year-old daughter Lil uploaded swimsuit photos on social platforms, and the mother and daughter generously showed off their beautiful legs and good figures, which attracted enthusiastic attention and appreciation from fans. Ji Qin used a printed silk scarf with a bikini to show elegant charm, showing self-confidence and family happiness. News highlights Peng Zhensheng, former deputy mayor of Taipei City, was involved in the Jinghua City case, and his wife fell to her death a few days ago, causing social concern. Han Kuo-yu, head of the legislature, said that the incident has shaken the foundation of democracy and freedom, fearing that the censorship will become a tool for political struggle, and calling on the judiciary to uphold fairness and justice. Huang Qiaoqing also criticized the prosecution behavior, demanded that the improper interrogation video be made public, stressed that someone should be responsible for the judiciary, and thanked Han Kuo-yu for speaking out to defend justice. News highlights. Dr. Jie Wei, director of the Dawen City Health Bureau, reminded that if you have symptoms of heat injury such as edema, spasms, and syncope, you should seek medical attention immediately, and if your body temperature rises to 42 degrees, it may be life-threatening. Heat exhaustion may lead to abnormal liver and kidney function, and even death from heat stroke, with a mortality rate of up to 8%. People with chronic diseases, the elderly, and children are at high risk and should pay special attention to water and electrolyte supplementation. News highlights. A 28-year-old netizen who works as a civil servant in Hsinchu shared that his monthly salary is more than 50,000 yuan and his monthly savings are 25,000 yuan, but he only saves 820,000 yuan in 3 years, and he can only afford an old house in the suburbs, lamenting that it is difficult to save money. After checking her expenses, she found that the monthly disposable amount was less than 5,000 yuan, which resonated with netizens. Many people recommend making good use of regular fixed investment ETFs such as 0050 to improve the efficiency of asset accumulation, and adjust the rent and filial piety fees according to the situation. Most people also stressed that instead of blindly cutting spending, it is better to create passive income through prudent investment to cope with the reality of high prices and stagnant wages. News highlights. The Togura Islands in Kagoshima Prefecture, Japan, have been experiencing frequent earthquakes recently, with more than 900 felt earthquakes accumulated in 12 days, and 2 earthquakes with a seismic intensity of 5 occurred on the 2nd. A 10-meter crack appeared in the school field of Xiaobayadao, and rock falls were reported in many places in the local area, but fortunately there were no casualties. The Japan Meteorological Agency warned that seismic activity is still active and called on the public to remain vigilant and take precautions against geological disasters. News highlights. With less than 48 hours left before the July 5 earthquake and tsunami predicted by writer Nagarjuna, there is no scientific basis but it has caused public concern. Experts warn that it's time to turn fear into action, prepare shelter kits, make contingency plans, and strengthen your home's equipment. Disaster kits should be equipped with water, medicine, documents, and tools. Emergency plans should specify contact persons and meeting places, and heavy items should be fixed at home. Even if a disaster does not occur, the drill will help strengthen the awareness of disaster prevention and enhance the ability to respond to emergencies. News highlights. Europe is reeling from an unusually early heat wave, with weather experts warning that extreme heat could become the new normal. In France, nearly 2,000 schools have been closed due to the discomfort of students due to stuffy classrooms. Many places in Italy have issued red alerts and restricted outdoor work during hot hours. Turkey is in the midst of a wildfire crisis, with tens of thousands of people forced to evacuate. Spain recorded the hottest June on record, with temperatures exceeding 40 degrees Celsius in some areas. According to EU data, Europe is warming twice as fast as the global average, and the climate crisis is hard to ignore. Countries are taking contingency measures to mitigate the impact and damage caused by the heat wave. News highlights. Enoa, the energy subsidiary of Saudi Arabia's new future city, NEOM, has signed an agreement with the Voluntary Carbon Market Company, VCM, to deliver more than 30 million metric tons of carbon credits by 2030, strengthening Saudi Arabia's position in the global carbon market. The carbon credits are sourced from climate projects in the global south and traded through the new VCM mechanism, with the first batch to be delivered in December 2024. NEOM is committed to building a zero-carbon, AI-governed smart city, which also symbolizes Saudi Arabia's active investment in climate finance and net zero transition.